the BBL. They are 3
NBL.
NBL, sorry. This is a problem. We don't have creative names for our sports. It's all BBL, NBL, NRL, rah, 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 this, that, the other thing. It gets confusing. Can't we just call this the Australian Basketball Association or something? Just something nice. Not always N something L, B something L, rah, 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 whatever.
Hello, welcome back with Aiden once again. To share the wrap-up 2025-26 Ashes series between Australia and England. We might do some maybe update off the basketball when he fought them Big Bash found out. Let's welcome back Aiden. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on. It's always a pleasure to come in here on the BJ show. Now, Ben, the cricket, the Ashes, it's over.
Yes.
Yes, Australia wins the series 4-1. We're going to get to each game that we have left. So we have Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney to get through today, and then we're just going to give our final thoughts on the series as a whole.
Excellent idea. What a series. Now, last time we did share only 2 series of this, and Australia were leading 2-0. Now, okay, out there we all know the results, but we'd like to just break it down 8 a night to share each series or each match you want to reword a better of that. And we are in Adelaide, hot cricket. Perfect. That's cricket weather in my eyes. It's hot. There is no cancellations in hot, but when it's raining, it's on hold. Cricket is not a raining sport. It is a hot. I don't know how our professionals wear long sleeves, Aiden. It's incredible to have that. But anyway, let's go and drive into Adelaide, South Australia, the week before Christmas. And you know how all everyone's been ready, prepared for the Christmas festival. We do share from the date of this match it doesn't really matter. It's in December, which leaves us, I think, the 17th to the 23rd. Now, Aiden will share his thoughts. He went to a day, he'll explain that. So overall, I think England got themselves a bit of mojo into that. So, you know, it was a downtown, anyone could actually won it. And besides England getting not in their first innings 286, England got better with the second innings compared to Australia. It was 3 runs in the second innings overall, so England were in front. And then, then England got them out. Then it was England's turn, and then unfortunately, 82 runs. So overall, I think, because I only watch here and there what's in the Ashes, just want to share that part. But I think it was the batting, we'll share this fella's announced his retirement for the final test career. He is a Aussie, but he's actually Pakistan. Something I've actually learned about him and why he retired. But, Alex Carey dominated, and Mitchie Starc. Someone has stepped up with the bat. He's done this twice, over 50 runs in a run. It's pretty effort. And Nathan Lyon didn't have a lot of time with the Ashes this season, and we still got the job done, knowing that we had some great talented. And for England's batting order, drove 553 from 20 over. So pretty good effort from that. There was some, Ben Stokes got a bit of injury and incredible contribution to England, but we'll share another batsman from England. He's only a young kid, dominated 150 plus runs, and you don't see that ever in international cricket. You're going to be 22 years old, and I think you know exactly what I mean, Aiden, but we'll share that. He created for England to have a batsman. He could be the front in order to take first through in order by third batsman for England. Put that pressure on him, give him that credit. So he'll learn, and he goes to down under in Australia and play for England in Ashes cricket and get 150 plus. It just shows, and like I said, we'll share that Batman a little bit later on, and he had his opportunity and he took the ride, and our bowlers dominated with 3, but Pat Cummins and Scott Bailey, and that was in the first innings, and this is where this is a true Aussie. Now, unfortunately, not playing for the LA Strikers in the Big Bash League. We'll share that very shortly, but I think 170 from 219, Travis Head and then Adelaide carry 72-128. Shows they are back at home. They're hitting more, and they can do well with the bat. They can do well in like being the keeper for Australia. So a pretty good effort there. And the second innings, well, there was not much. There's that Zach Carley from England. There was not a lot. And then same with, Australia's really share. Nathan Lyon, 3 for 77. That was the only his best for summer. And yeah. So I'm going to wrap it up. But like I said, I watched here and there of the cricket from the Ashes over the series. And I will share my player of the match. And with the overall series. And there's a few mine I will share. And hopefully you agree that was Aiden. Anyway, that's enough with me. I will now share, and Aiden, take it away for the third Ashes series in Adelaide.
All right, thank you, Ben. So yeah, as Ben said, I was at that game. I was there on the Thursday and the Friday, so days 2 and 3 of the Adelaide Test. Now, the Thursday was 43 degrees at Adelaide Oval. It was the hottest day recorded in the history of the Ashes. That day was very hot. Even upstairs in the members' seating, reserve seating, yeah, they had the fans on. And it was still hot upstairs. It was an absolute hot day, but there was cricket on. And there's no better way to spend a hot day than watching the cricket in the summer here in Adelaide. So we'll go through the innings. Here we go. Australia's first inning. They made 371 out. We'll run through the big overs for Australia. Usman Khawaja with an 82. Alex Carey made a 106. That was a great 106. Definitely steered Australia into a good position at the end of that first innings. And then we come down the score, down the batting list, and there's Mitchell Starc sitting there. 54. Another big 50 from Mitchell Starc to go along with his bowling effort in the series as well. So those big scores from Starc and the bowling crew really helping Australia keep afloat. Now, England bowlers, we had Archer 5 wickets, 5 for him. Cars had 2, Tongue 1, none for Ben Stokes off his 19 overs, and Will Jack took 2 wickets for 105. Now, Will Jacks isn't a full-time spinner. He's a part-time spinner, and the quality shows between a Will Jacks and a Nathan Lyon. There is a big gulf in class between those two. Now we get to England's first inning with the bat. England with the bat came out and they started okay. They didn't start great. They made 286 in the end. Big goals for England as we go down. Harry Brook made a 45, Ben Stokes an 83, and Jofra Archer, his maiden test 50 with a 51. England just never had it. They were off the pace. They were 90 runs behind, 85 runs behind at the end of the first inning. So Mitch Starc with 1 wicket, Pat Cummins with 3, Scott Boland with 3, Nathan Lyon with 2, Cam Green with 1 as well of his 11 overs. So Cam Green there, he's doing a little bit of work, just give the bowling group a load rest just so they can get through it. Because it's now that time where we've had the big break with Perth. We had a bit of a break after Brisbane, but now it's pretty much going to be back-to-back tests each week. So you need to be able to manage that bowling group effectively. We go into Australia's second innings, and we start off with Travis Head making a 170 for Australia. That was really one of the biggest scores stood up here in this inning. Alex Carey also with a 72 to get Australia to 349. England with the ball just didn't look comfortable, didn't look right. Tongue had 4 wickets, Cast had 3 wickets, Archer had 1 wicket, Will Jacks only 1, and Ben Stokes only the 1 wicket for him as well. That left England with a chase of 435 as we went into Saturday and Sunday. So it all started off very well for England. Zach Crawley got an 85, and then it started to fall away. Duckett didn't get a start. He lasted just 2 balls. First one he hit to the boundary, second one he was caught out. Pat Cummins bowled, caught minus Labuschagne. Ollie Pope had a 17, not a great start. Joe Root got a start to get a 39. Harry Brook had a start to get to a 30. Ben Stokes only made 5, bowled by Lyon. But this is where England started to capture the game back. Jamie Smith and Will Jacks' partnership, 60 for Jamie Smith, 47 for Will Jack, 39 for Bryden Cast as well, no doubt. England looked like they were really in this game at lunch on day 5, but just a sloppy mistake from Jamie Smith really just put them out of the game. even though they were 5-6 down, they still had a chance, but Jamie Smith just lobbed one up in the air, caught it mid-off, and that was pretty much the end of England. So they finished on 352, losing by 80 odd runs, or 77 runs or something. Bowlers for Australia, Mitch Starc with 3, Pat Cummins with 3, Scott Boland took 1, Nathan Lyon took 3. Nathan Lyon also got injured fielding during this match as well. Cameron Green, none. Travis Head, none. And Marnus Labuschagne, no wickets as well to complete the bowling for Australia. So after Adelaide, that was it. Australia has retained the Ashes. There's still 2 more tests to play. With a 3-0 lead, Australia has retained the Ashes.
Yes, absolutely. And I gotta say thank you for all, your time, 2 days at the cricket, and the first day was hot, and record breaks, and it's always entertaining to go to a cricket match. I've been to the Big Bash, and I'll share my thoughts on being to the Adelaide Strikers, Melbourne Stars, and the incredible New Year's Eve. And I tell you, 6 years later, breakdown from I showed more of that when the time comes. But driving into Adelaide, now we come to the day after Christmas, not even Boxing Day. Now, I think England had a little bit of learning, lose by 82 runs in the third test. Yes, Australia won and all that. But something, I think Australia won it, no worries, give England a really confident boost, and they did it. Now, this is actually incredible to know, Aiden. No one scored over 200 over 2 innings, which I've never seen before. So, MCG, Melbourne, and the traditional, I thought this was a better bounce back from England. And they were in the game, some of it, and they'll learn so much, and they did it perfectly. Nothing really. No, not too excited. No one really scored even a 50. So, there's, best bowler for England, and you can share this part as well. But Josh Tongi, 5 from 45 from his 11 overs, the best bowler for England, and Ben Stokes hit 1 wicket, and Braden Carcas and 2 for Gus Atkinson from 14 from 28 runs. So that's a big difference when you really learn what you need to do. And they got, how much that England did not let Australia give them a half century, 50 in an individual performance. Shows that they bowl well and they really want to put on an effort. So Australia scored, if I can get this information, or you can say that, but 152. So not great. That's more a T20 score than a Test cricket score. Then England were out for 110. That's once again that's a T20. That's low scoring, and Michael Nisek really showed up with Scott Boland with 3 wickets. Jay Richard came in for his first Ashes, I think, for the series. Mitch Starkey, dominate was 2 for 23 on 6 overs, was incredible. And, Cameron Green with no wicket from 5. So that was the first innings. And then second innings came, and it wasn't, this is interesting to know. Scott Boland actually was the first in order. Now, I'm not too sure why that was. He's actually a bowler to be the first batsman for Australia. And that makes a big mistake. 6 for 17, 46 for Trevor, best batsman overall for this second innings. And then it was England's turn to show some class. And Jacob BBL will share very soon. But this is the batsman, Haynes, and confident. He hit maybe 40, and I believe that was his first ever Ashes in his career, 2022. So 40 from 46, incredible, Aiden. Probably, doesn't have to be right, it can be anywhere. And I give him, confidence and a future to play in the sport. And he can dominate international level. That's incredible. So give him more credit. But for Australia, yes, not the greatest you want to see, 6 for 178 for England, and that, but for Australia scoring 130 from 68 runs above from 1920. So England basically won in the runs overall and winning by 4 wickets for the series. So I'm going to end it from there. Good weather. It seemed to be good weather over Melbourne as well. Maybe not as in Adelaide. Anyway, I'm going to now let Aidan to share the fourth Ashes series from Melbourne.
Thank you very much, Ben. So Boxing Day 2025, and we got treated to not a great contest, not a great pitch. The only thing that was really great was the atmosphere, as always, at the MCG. The pitch itself was under question before the test, especially after the test, and it started on Boxing Day at 10 o'clock in Australia. It ended on Boxing Day somewhere in Hawaii. Yes, that is right, ladies and gentlemen. It was somewhere in the world. It was Boxing Day when this test match ended. This is how quick this game was played. Australia made 152 in the first inning. Michael Neser, the big scorer, with 35. Khawaja running up behind with 29. And England, the bowlers, Cast with 1, Atkinson with 2, Josh Tongue with 5, and Ben Stokes with a wicket for himself as well. And we thought, well, okay, maybe Australia's just failed. Maybe this pitch is just Australia's just failed. Then we come to England. England respond with a 110. This is where questions start to get asked. England, no one really makes a big score. Harry Brook makes a 41. Gus Atkinson a 28. That was pretty much the end for England for 110. We're still on day one at this point as well, by the way. So Starkey with 2, Neser with 4, Boland with 3, and Cameron Green with that 1 wicket off his lone over. Now, going to the second inning, we were still on day 1 when the second inning began for Australia, and Scott Boland had to come out as night watchman and open the batting. That is how quickly this game moved along. That we had the night watchman, Scott Boland, opening for his country. He'll never do it again, trust me, but it was a great show. It only lasted 17 balls, 1 boundary, but it was worth the wait. Travis Head, the big score here with 24 in that second inning for Australia as they push to 132. Steve Smith comes along with a 24 as well, and Cam Green makes a 19. Now for England, the bowling here. Brydon Cast got 4, Gus Atkinson got 1, Josh Tongue with 2 more, and Ben Stokes with 3. We move into the final inning of the match on day 2. England will they do go on and win this test match, 178 for 6 down for England there. Big scores for England. Zach Crawley got a start 37, Ben Duckett got a start 34. Carth was the night watchman. Well, not really a night watchman, he was a lower end player who came in at 3 for some reason. Jacob Bethel come in, made a 40, a very strong 40 there from Jacob Bethel. Joe Root, 15, Harry Brook, 18, Ben Stokes only made 2, and Jamie Smith came in to clean up the remaining runs with 3. Bowlers for Australians were Stark with 2, Richardson with 2, Boland with 2. Now, this match ended in 2 days, as I said. It was Boxing Day somewhere in Hawaii when this match ended. There were questions about the pitch going on. There were questions about the pitch going on after. You cannot put up a 2-day test match. This is not what people want to see. People do not go to test matches going, I want to see the game played in basically 2 one-day games. I don't want to see the game played in basically 4 T20 games.
Absolutely. Is that a record?
I think it's a record in Australia, definitely a recent record in Australia. I'll have to go through the record books to have a look. But I can't, apart from Perth, well, I mean, with Perth as well now, we've had 2 tests this Ashes series finished within 2 days. The first one was because no one was really prepared, and the pitch in Perth actually got the top grade from the ICC. That's different. The pitch here in Melbourne didn't get a very good grade from the ICC. There was a centimetre of grass on it. That's never a good sign. It was green. It didn't look nice at all. Bowler friendly. Bowler total advantage of the bowlers. Batting was hard, if not completely impossible, and realistically, it was just who could survive longest and just get the less edges, and in the end, that was England. They get away. They get that start. Once they get that start in that second innings from Crawley and Duckett, you just think, okay, England's probably won this game here, and they go on and win it. A little bit of a fight back from Australia in the end, but England, they do go on and win it for 6 for 178 in that final innings, and the score in the series is now 3-1. As I said, Australia's already retained the Ashes after Adelaide. And England now, they're playing for pride. They're playing for basically future selection purposes. Basically, they're playing for seeing who's not going to get dropped at the end of this, because once they get back, I can tell you that there's going to be heads on the chopping block, and it may not be a pretty scene in England.
And yes, and I think there is a lot of questions how, yes, thanks for all the breaking news about the pitch as well. And I got to say, when I really didn't really pay attention of this game because it was finished before you know it. And wow factors, I can say it wasn't an entertainment. You want to go to a entertainment, T20's the world, because it's in one night, it's entertainment, music. Test cricket, it's supposed to be a 5 day, or depending on the competition, but 5 days common. But I've never seen, yes, got better, but the Melbourne Test, not big fan of it. But we're now moving on to the fifth and final. Now, this is one. It's not just about the pink test, as they know for in Sydney, the SCG. Now, better performance from Australia, but this is the player that is ending his career in Test. And yeah, maybe he not finish his career in first innings at 82. Then, yeah, we all know, talking about if you listening, in a manner 40. So total of over. I've got my maths on today, the 112, but we can calculate later on. But it's over 2 innings. That's a pretty good. So it's a pretty a batsman that knew it was time to any time in the green baggy hat, in any way you want to word it. In Test cricket, but you can share your thoughts. But Usman Khawaja, a batsman and a pitcher and a fielder. However, pitcher is basically, so let's just lose it into a field into it. A player that I've learned and listened to a lot. Joe, he's actually Pakistan, but that's okay. He's Aussie and he's got a lovely family in Australia. He's actually was growing up in Brisbane, playing for the Brisbane Heat. If I got that correct, I thought he's from Sydney. So it's a little bit confused where he's. Doesn't matter where he's from, but I think he played his first debut at the SCG, the Ashes series, or even general just for cricket for Australia. So this is like 15 years ago, over half a decade ago. He played for the Green Bay, and Steve Smith is still playing after 15 years. And, before Steve Smith, I thought he'll be retired by now, but he's still in good form as well. But, Usman Khawaja, congratulations on a Test career performance. And now we'll wrap it up and share the results and all of that. If you want to start off, Aiden, I'll let you share the final test.
Yeah, thank you. So, final test of the Ashes in Sydney, the pink test for the Jane McGrath Foundation. Now, Australia probably, there were a lot of thoughts of Australia's team being too heavy with bats, no spinner. First time we've gone to Sydney without a spinner in forever. And it probably showed in England's first innings. England get away to 384 in their first inning. Joe Root made a 160, Harry Brook an 84, Jamie Smith 26, got out to Marnus Labuschagne bowling bounces of the SCG. Oh, that is a sight to see. Yeah, so no spinner in the side for Australia. Bo Webster can do some part-time spin, but it's not the same as having a full-time spinner like a Todd Murphy or an Nathan Lyon. Murphy was in the squad after the Lyon injury in Adelaide, but did not get selected. And England really feasted out on the pace and the same bowlers that Australia had selected. They get out to 384, and we thought, well, maybe our team's a little bit wrong here. Maybe something's going wrong. Maybe we've got something wrong here. But maybe we do, maybe we don't. Here we go. Let's have a look at Australia's batting innings. Australia with the bat. Travis Head opens 163. Minus 48. Steve Smith 138. Usman Khawaja in his second to last innings makes 17 out of Carey 16. Cameron Green 37. Bo Webster in his first test for the series makes 71 not out. He's the not out man remaining at the end of Australia's first innings. Australia got all out 567. We thought we had too many bats. Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we'll never know. Because maybe we just put up 567 for fun. England again. Just Will Jackson as a spinner, and it was never going to work. You need a full-time spinner in that. Bowling for England, Cast with 3, Tongue with 3, Stokes with 2, Jacks with 1, and Jacob Bethel also with 1 wicket for England. Now we move into that second innings. England making 342 here. And big scores for England. There weren't as many as there were in the first inning. Ben Duckett made a 42. Jacob Bethel, the big stand-up score for him. He looks to be a real key piece of England's future with 154 in his second Ashes test. Joe Root, 6. Harry Brook, another 42. So he looks like he might be the incumbent captain of England very, very soon if these big results keep going away from them, as England just come down to 342 in that second innings. Australia to bowling, 3 for Stark, 2 for Boland, 1 for Nater, 3 for Bo Webster. Australia now require 161 to win. So we don't really go that deep into our order in the second innings. A lot of strong starts again. Travis Head at 29, Jake Rotherell 34, Marnus Labuschagne 37, Steve Smith 12, Usman Khawaja, his final innings, he gets out bowled by Josh Tongue for 6. Alex Carey makes 16, and Cameron Green makes 22. Bowlers for England, Josh Tongue with 3. He looks like another key piece of their future. Will Jack with another one and a run out as well for England. So Australia win this match. They chase down the 161 for the loss of 5 wickets, and Australia wins the Ashes 4-1.
Thank you, Aiden. And future reference from England, there's a lot of what's going on. Australia went through that, so England is going through that. So all the best from that and the future reference. But Australia has scored over that's their second 500, and England didn't even make a 400 in the whole series. So it proves to me that start of to end his test career and we can still dominate. So we'll bring someone young into, and we do. With future stars coming in, we need to bring them now. Well, that's what England have done. They didn't know what to bring, and if you can bring someone, he's a bat and a bowler, all rounder, and scored 154, Aiden, and can hit wickets well.
So I think for England, one of the things that I think that they did wrong in their preparation is obviously they didn't take on the practice games like they should have. They selected the experience of Ollie Pope and they backed that in, and it didn't work. And Jacob Bethel came in for 2 tests and he scored more than Pope did in his whole series. So sometimes, as you say, you can't just back experience. It's cost England here. I mean, England ran out of bowlers. They lost Chris Wokes before they came here. Then they lost Mark Wood. Then they lost Josh Raja. Then they lost Gus Atkinson. But bowlers aside, they actually kept Australia in the game with the ball. It was with the bat where they let them go, and it was because they would lose a couple of quick wickets because they had Ollie Pope coming in at 3. Whenever they were 1 down, they were essentially just waiting to get 2 down, because you knew everybody could have expected Pope to get out on any ball. They switched to Bethel, and he's involved in a win in Melbourne, and he makes a 150 in Sydney. So that tells me maybe you should have gone with Bethel from the very start. If you'd gone with Bethel from the very start, you would have had someone would have put up big scores and kept you in the game.
Absolutely. And a good point from that point of view for Australia, like Travis Head, like a player, the local staff Aussie here in Adelaide, and Alex Carey, they dominated again, and I'll share very quickly, 163 from 160. That is almost accuracy. You don't see that in a test cricket. You can be 100 plus in cricket balls and run some minors. So tells me that Travis Head actually dominated overall, which is incredible. And the bowler, it was LBW to Jacob Buffett. Yeah, take out a great cricketer. He's, good on him, and, overall, I'll share, and if you want to share your overall the player of the match from this one, can be so many, but the series and Coach Lyons and mixed up. I had a feeling he was going to be the player of the series. What's the presentation? And I don't know how many days test went for. I think very similar, went over 3 days, and proves to me that maybe we should have 3-day series instead of 5. You're going to be entertainment. Time's better. But anyway, moving. So, Mitch Starc, Travis Head being the player of the match. I don't know that was the overall of the match for that, but series of players that Mitch Starc did dominate with the bat, as well as being a bowler, that he's improved his batting skills, but he's just one step better with the bowler. And Pat Cummins wasn't there half the time. So, he had to do a lot of the work, and proves to me that he's still a very good batsman or bowler for Australia. Mark Nitzer, he's another one dominated with the bat, but came in from the Brisbane Tests and dominating from there. And, bowlers do step up, but they also step with the bat. And that's how Australia came very, very strong. So there's a few, very, very close in order, but I'm going to give it to Mitch Starc. Yes, we know that, but yeah, no, Mitch Starc is my player of the game, and yeah, I think he earned the series, and not dominate with the bat, but with the wickets, he just make records on home soil. And yeah, so Aiden, I'll let you share your player of the match or series, however.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one. I thought maybe Mitch Stark because of what he did with the bowl and the bat, but I ended up on Travis Head. I think he had 300s, and again, even in Melbourne, in the loss in Melbourne, that 46 was the biggest score of the match from an individual. So he won the game in Sydney. He put on a big score again in Adelaide. He won the game in pretty much every test he played in Sydney, Adelaide, Perth. I thought that his batting was absolutely exceptional, and I thought that when I looked at the numbers, I just kept coming back to Travis Head. That's what it was. I said, oh, Stark's got a 5 here. He's done this, this, this. I keep going back to Travis Head because the way he batted, the way he broke England down, made it so that England had to respect him. And because they had to respect him, the minute you have to start respecting Travis Head is the minute he starts winning. And they had to respect his play style, and then he got on top of them over and over again. They never had a game plan for him. They never had a game plan to get Travis Head out once he got going. And for that reason, I gave him my player of the series.
Sounds great. And he was totally my, up there. I don't think he was very close to the series, but well done to those two athletes for Australia. And England, all the best for future as Australia. So, Big Bash League has come to our attention, ladies and gentlemen, and hope you enjoy much as we are sharing this series. And I can't totally remember what match, but
we are up to match 34 tonight, Adelaide versus the Melbourne Stars.
that's going to be a interesting one. So that is the first team of the first 26 MCG. Hopefully the pitch is actually a bit nicer, better for LA Strikers. Can they claim finals? Now I watch the Perth Scorchers and the LA Strikers. I think one of the best game I've ever seen for the LA Strikers. Yes, we brought Alex Carey from the Ashes international duties. But to lose by 32 runs when Alex Carey got out, I don't know you watched this, Aiden, and I 100% watched it. When we got that out, that was it. And you can't rely on your best batsman like you can't rely on experience, no matter what sport it is. So look at the LA United, how they have to bring, and they draw against Wellington in Wellington. They take on Melbourne Victory in the next game in Adelaide. Cooper Stadium, and it's proves to me that, I have been showing the A League and the women's and all that, but when you have injury players on that list and draw against a team that where Adelaide United, a young team, lost 4-0 at home. Now we take on Melbourne Victory. That's going to be an interesting title, but on to the cricket. Like I said, the last time we shared, it's been a long time, but we do come to match 35 and beyond. And the summer of T20 comes it's the final month. And basically, in 2 weeks' time, there will be no more cricket competition. T20 Ashes is now complete. No more major cricket is on us. And I'll be focusing on the pre-season. Stay tuned. What an epic episode we have, Aiden, about the early and later predictions. And yeah, it's going to be a whipping show from that, but we're going to think how is your top 4, because I think LA Strikers, I would love to see them playing finals, but they have proved better than last year. They've brought some great players in, and I'm going to share this special moment against the Melbourne Stars game, and we just couldn't win it. The bat was far too good. Leave us that was a friend. And then same with New Year's Eve. The batting order, we decided to bowl up on New Year's Eve. Beautiful weather, cool conditions, no rain, and beautiful night for New Year's Eve. And you get that 30,000 roaring LA Strikers, and they win by 7 wickets. And this is the interesting result. The team we played in Brisbane, LA lost to, came to Adelaide, LA won. So we didn't have, and we really dominated with that bat, and we got great to start, and we didn't have Alex Carey, we didn't have Travis Head in our team, and we dominated. So at this point of the series, and can't wait to share all of that. I really think Hobart Hunter Games will be in the mix, winning the go back to back. I think they look very strong. Perth Scorchers are in the mix. 100% as well. We got Sydney Sixers, though, that they are my top three. Melbourne Stars, Brisbane Heat, and Adelaide Strikers. Both there's the other two teams I just mentioned. They're all hunting for that fourth spot on the BBL 15 ladder. Now, last time we chatted about this, and Aiden has mentioned, why is there West and East from the same team? Renegades is the west of Melbourne in Geelong, and then Melbourne Stars is in the south of Melbourne, which is in the east south Melbourne MCG. Then we have the same thing west of Sydney, at where the Green Western Sydney Giants AFL team do play, and then Sydney Sixers are the Sydney Swans, where they play at the Sydney Cricket Ground. So, it is can be confusing, but the colours are different. But who are the Sydney? Which Sydney team? Or Melbourne? Which Melbourne team? Or Brisbane? At least it's not a Gold Coast team. It could be the Gold Coast Brisbane team. What? So, we do have this Sydney showdown and the Melbourne Derby and Sydney Derby. I don't know if that's the same. I think it makes sense. Right? But you have two rivals, yes, they have money to run in their state and membership all goes together. But anyway, they're my top four. For future for the next 8-7 games remaining, we've got a week to go, then finals. It's going to be interesting. Finish up. Aiden, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. So, every team in the Big Bash has got 1 or 2 games left, mate. The current order on the table, Hobart have kind of jumped up the last couple of days, last week or so. When I say week or so, that's 3 games in 10 days than most teams normally play. So in their last 3 games, they've really jumped up into that top spot. They've got a game to play. They're on 13 points. They've got a game to play. They should be runaway minor premier. Second place, you've got Perth, one of the old heads of the league. Perth, historically a strong BBL side. 2 games to play, 4 points behind Hobart. Third is Melbourne Stars. Again, they're a team who normally are around the mark, have good star power, they have Maxwell, they have Stoinis, but they never seem to capture the moment. They are also at 2 to play. Obviously, they've got Adelaide tonight. That'll be the next one. They've got one after that. They're also on 10 points. Fourth place currently is the Sydney Sixers. Again, one of the old firm teams of the competition. It feels weird saying old firm teams of the competition were in the 15th season, but historically speaking, Perth and Sydney Sixers have been in miles above everybody else. They are on 4 wins and 9 points. They had a no result. They've got 2 to play. They could sneak into the top 3 if they wanted to. In 5th currently is the Brisbane Heat on 8 points, 4-4 record for them. In 6th, the Adelaide Strikers. Now, the Adelaide Strikers are one of these teams where if they get it right on the night, they're a really good team. If they get it wrong on the night, they're in a bit of trouble. And unfortunately for them, they've been wrong more often than they've been right. They got the Stars tonight in Melbourne. I don't think that's going to be a favourable outcome for them. So they're going to have to rely on results going their way elsewhere. So when they play the Renegades on Saturday, they'll have a chance to get into that top 5. Then down the bottom of the table is the Melbourne Renegades. As I said, they will be playing Adelaide on Saturday. They're pretty much out of contention for the finals. And in last place is the Sydney Thunder, who are on 2 wins, 4 points, and they are eliminated as well from making the finals with 1 game to play for them. So my top 4, if I have a look at who's playing who, I've got Hobart at 1, I've got Perth, I've got Melbourne Stars, and I think Brisbane, based on who's playing who, I think Brisbane and Sydney Sixers will flip. And now the reason I say that is because Brisbane's had some BBL players become available from the test team. Usman Khawaja and Marnus Labuschagne have returned for Brisbane. Hobart don't have the luxury of having half their team unavailable due to test duties. Hobart are very much T20 guys like Matthew Wade, Tim David, Nathan Ellis. Those are T20 specialist players. That is their advantage. Their disadvantage is they don't have the test players coming back for them. So that is my top 4, top 5, as it is. Adelaide will miss out, along with Melbourne Renegades and Sydney Thunder.
No worries. So, yeah, I do agree. If Adelaide can be magic on the right day, they'll do it. And they didn't do great against Perth, but they fight. And boy, the partnership, I think Adelaide's partnership was better, but like I said, Alex Carey had to do so much to we with the bat, we got some match, and it was through to why we didn't have a very big crowd. Anyway, let's finish up if you are interested, Aiden, some basketball
Yes,
news.
let's get to the NBL.
And what I gotta say right now, yes, the lesson learned for this team called the LA 36ers. And this is a good lesson learned. We didn't perform in a way, in a nice way, not great. And I think we rely on too many substitutions. Fouls were called, shouldn't be called. And the interesting factor is Cairns tight pants are second to last on the NBL 26 ladder. They've been last basically all season and recently will shed, overall congratulations on their performance in Cairns. We have an idea who's going to be our top four overall. The fifth and sixth and maybe the Tasmanian Jumpers, top six, sorry, I apologise. So the team is New Zealand Breakers could upset now 3 games apart, Aiden, with 5 weeks remaining. The result have to be that Tasmania has to keep losing all their games, then the New Zealand Breakers have to win all their games. That is it. As simple as that. They will play final. But I do not feel like I feel my opinion from LA Phoenix to South East Melbourne Phoenix. Sydney Kings, Melbourne United, they are being a bit shaky. They are not confident. But finals changed their confidence. How they are at the moment, they're not being the Melbourne United I know, and I think it's good to bring someone different. South East and Melbourne Phoenix, they're looking really good. They were struggling. They were like fifth at one stage, fourth roughly. Now second. This is now the right time for them to play some great basketball. Now Adelaide, yes, they lost. I have, but you can't. Like I said, they got work to do, and it was on the news, and they know. We are lucky to beat Sydney Kings in our absolute clinic, and that's the first time we beat Sydney Kings all season. Why they did that study? Why Sydney Kings should be one of the best teams in the NBL? And I remember who they lost, Mania. So, and that was only 3 points overall, 8 points. So Tasmania is another team that they love playing Adelaide. They come to Adelaide and proves to me that Adelaide are not there, but they are there. That the all time a experienced player Troy or Tony Jones Jr. If I got correct, have to go home. Personal reasons on social media. All the best for you, mate. And no, you're welcome to come back play for LA 36ers. Not may play your best performance, but the one thing about basketball, defense wins games, not offense. The big common thing in basketball, and I've been part of common from the coach. So, you can play great offense when you are open, score, be confident that if you're stuck in defense, they'll fast break. And that's what Tasman did. I watched that game and boy, when they just couldn't miss. And the coach from Tasmania, it's just how he has performed. He beaten the best team in the NBL, 26. Adelaide were eighth last season, third to last on the ladder, third. Now, we're not going to say anything bad, but I think this loss will improve the coming to finals. We've got 5 games. There's lots to learn. Anything. Hey, LA can go down to third, or we can see. So we don't want that. But LA has some great shooters and some great bodies. We just have to play smart defense, and the fast breaks will win. And yes, we've got Bryce Cotton in the team. A true athlete he is today. And he's, how we perform. A former player, Nick Marshall, now playing for Tasmania. Absolute in front of Bryce Cotton, the in-face defense. And he got 4 fouls overall, if I can got that correct. And they were half out. And I'm thinking they were silly fouls as well. But that's what you do when you're going against a very good player. You got to play good defense. One of their Sydney players did that very, very, very well. He's injured at the moment. Why Adelaide actually won that game. But, when Adelaide, don't know who they're versing at the moment. New Zealand Breakers, no, Southeastern Melbourne Phoenix. So to wrap me up, we've got Horse Hoops Fest coming on from if I got my calculations correct, on Thursday, the 15th, 2026, the weekend, all teams are in Perth. It's great. It's a long distance for a lot of like Tasmania coming over from overseas. They have to do maybe a three-way or two-way just to get to Perth, and I think Tasmania Jumpers, a team of them, they know how to travel, but generally supporters base and everyone's come to Perth, and it's fantastic. Like go around in Adelaide, the ball in Adelaide. So it's great to see Perth getting that, always that Melbourne and in Sydney the host. But get Perth to get into it. Because I tell you right now, it's gonna be more fun that way and two games on for most games. But I'm gonna wrap this my part of how some other teams are looking pretty good, but we'll find out in the next 5 weeks. But anyway, nothing's enough for me. Aiden, take it away for your NBL thoughts.
All right, thank you very much, Ben. So Adelaide, we're going to first, before we get into anything else, Adelaide are top of the table at the moment. They're top of the table, and their next run of games, they're playing against teams inside the top six by one. So I think out of their next 5 or 6 games, they're playing 1 or 2 games only outside, well, 3 games outside the top six. So Southeast Melbourne is the next one. Win that. That's a 2-game swing, that one. If Adelaide win that, I think they walk into first place. Then they have New Zealand, Sydney Kings, Brisbane, Southeast Melbourne again, Illawarra, Melbourne is their next stretch of game. That's the next 3 weeks for Adelaide, the next 3-4 weeks for Adelaide. Then they close with New Zealand again and Perth. So for the 36ers, we have a look at the table. They're 3 games clear of second place, Southeast Melbourne. Now, if they win both of those games they've got left against Southeast Melbourne, they are going to be your ladder leaders at the end of the league phase of the BBL. They are 3
NBL.
NBL, sorry. This is a problem. We don't have creative names for our sports. It's all BBL, NBL, NRL, rah, 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 this, that, the other thing. It gets confusing. Can't we just call this the Australian Basketball Association or something? Just something nice. Not always N something L, B something L, rah, 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 whatever. But they are 3 games clear of Southeast Melbourne. As I said, they win both of those games, they walk into the NBL minor premiership at the end of the league phase. Then there's a logjam. Southeast Melbourne, Sydney, Melbourne United, Perth Wildcats, all within 2 games of each other. They're all within 2 games of second in Southeast Melbourne. The disadvantage is Melbourne United, the one who's played 25, so they've only got a game and a half difference between them. But Perth, they get dangerous this time of year. Sydney get dangerous this time of year. This is new territory for Southeast Melbourne. And Melbourne United as well also know what to do come February and March basketball. Falling away into the 6th spot, we have the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers. Now, they look like they're comfortably 6th. I think that right now, unless something drastically changes, the top 6 is set. I think it's going to be Adelaide, Southeast Melbourne, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and Tasmania as your top 6 order, yet to be confirmed. Adelaide should be the minor premiers. Then the teams we miss out, New Zealand, Illawarra. For once this year, Cairns is not in last place. The Cairns Taipans, and then in last place, the Brisbane Bullets. Now, the spread is still very big. 5 of the top 6 teams have won more games than the Queensland teams have won combined. That is the spread of depth of the NBL. And it's concerning because we look at the top of the ladder and we look at Adelaide, and then it is a long way down to the Queensland team. What needs to be done, I don't know. But again, Adelaide are on top. Adelaide are cruising. As I said multiple times before, South Australia's second sport is basketball. After the footy, it's the NBL. And the great thing here is it doesn't matter if you're Crows or Power, you're 36ers fan. Doesn't matter. You're a Lightning fan. Doesn't matter. This is Adelaide start to come up again. We've got Bryce Cott. We've got Zylan Cheatham. We've got a lot of good players. I think our one weakness as we get into the finals is going to be our bench depth. If we don't have our bench depth, we are going to struggle with fatigue in the come because we're not going to be playing games against Cairns and New Zealand and Illawarra and Brisbane. We're going to be playing against Southeast Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, those caliber of teams every night. And while we have Bryce Cotton, that's a great help. But if we don't have Bryce Cotton on the floor, systematically we shut down. This is why we need Bryce Cotton to put up 30, 40, 50 every night for it. Because when he's not on the floor, we don't have a go-to scoring option. That is going to be something that teams key on in the finals. They're going to figure it out early on after a couple of games. That is going to be what brings us down. So we need Humphreys, Tatum, everyone else around to step up, because this is the time now where we start to put in what we're going to look like playing in February and March. But that is all I have for the NBL. 36ers are my tip to go and take the minor premiership.
Okay, so I think it's it. That is it for another update here with Aiden and the cricket and the basketball. That's our main base. Next episode, we'll wrap it up with the BBL and who won it and all that. Can't wait for that. And boy, there's going to be some interesting facts about that for BBL 15. We'll come into who is going to play finals for the NBL and stay tuned for all that. All the latest of the soccer news for that coming your way by the time. But stay tuned for all the latest here on the BJ Show. Thank you so much. Thank you, Aiden.
It's all right.
No worries. And we'll see you next time here on the BJ Show. All right. Cheers. Bye for now.